Okay, good morning. It is Friday. Yes, fantastic. The weekend is here. Very, very excited. And we've got lots of cool stuff for you today. We're going to find out about possibly, I don't know if it's the first, but I'm excited because it's someone that I know and he's been planning this for ages, and he's got imagination and creativity, and he's doing an Afrikaans horror movie, the first proper full feature film Afrikaans horror documentary that I can think of in South Africa. I might be wrong. There might have been others, but nobody cares. And we're going to talk to Rian van Heerden later on today. He's such a busy man. He's been doing Wie Word 'n Millionaire, which is like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on Cakenet. He's been doing his own like interview magazine show. He has produced a ton of television shows, and now he's doing this movie. So the guy is incredibly busy. He's always extremely funny too, so we'll be talking to him a bit later on. But right now, in the studio with us, we have none other than Costa. I can never get the surname right.
You got it right.
Is that right?
That's
Perfect. I blundered into it.
That's me.
No, of course it's not right. Carastavrakis.
That's me, Costa Carastavrakis.
There we
Hello,
go.
Gareth. Good to be here.
I'm very good. Elare.
Elare.
Good. Yeah, no, so how are you? How things going?
Good.
I like your shirt.
Thank you.
Very good, very patriotic.
Proudly South African. My Afro bling. It's made of buttons. I actually got it at World Cup 2010.
Yes, and it's lasted. Hey,
well,
it looks good. The quality of that fabric's obviously decent.
No, I only wear this to special occasions, Gareth. This is one of those.
Do you have a cupboard of stuff that you only open for?
No, I just have a few special items, not an entire cupboard.
Wow,
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you had a big plan here that I didn't.
No. But good to be
the man
here.
has a special cupboard of stuff.
For Halloween, I do.
Okay. Are you doing anything for Halloween? Because this is a thing, right? That I've never really understood. South Africans, they pretend to be big on Halloween when it suits them, and South Africans like dressing up, but I don't think Halloween is a thing for us.
It is if it falls on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And this year
Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. I thought it was a Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah, it's
like a friend of mine phoned me last night, and he's like, "Are we going to do anything for Halloween?" And that's actually how he sounds. I'm not even making it up. And I said, "No, why?" He goes, "Oh, so it's a Thursday," just like you just said. So I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" So, well, let's organize something. So I asked him, "You mean I must organize something?"
Yeah. Yo, organize something for us, Gareth.
You sound exactly like
you.
You're
100%, bro.
I'm not going to. On a Thursday, I've got to do the show here on a Friday morning. What am I going to do a Thursday night? I've become so boring on a night before work. So Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Just forget about it. You won't get me out of the house easily.
Not even Puza Thursday?
No, dude, I haven't done a Puza Thursday for...
Isn't that your word?
I know, I started that.
Yeah, you started Puza Thursday.
I started Puza Thursday 10, 12 years ago. We had Bra Matthews, who was the Puza Thursday shop steward. And he would start the show for us every day with "It's Puza Thursday." And he fucking drank that oak. I think he's dead now. No, well, I mean, we all die, so don't get upset.
Well,
I think he might have survived, but I can guarantee he was on stage 203 of like cirrhosis of the liver. Bra Matthews used to go home every week and hit it hard, man. And if he did come in on a Friday morning, because often he would miss Fridays, he worked at the SABC, and we did a show, and for years, nobody even, when someone is around and people don't even pay attention, like often you get these really terrible people who don't even acknowledge the presence of like the lady who washes the dishes or any of that shit. And I'm not going down some like white guilt fucking off ramp here because no one cares. But Bra Matthews was never noticed. Like he used to pack away like people's music, and he would bring you playlists, and he'd do all this. He'd become part of the furniture, right? And people weren't horrible to him, but they didn't make an effort with him. And I got talking to this guy, and I realized like he was a real character. He had funny stories to tell. He had this great like gravelly Puza voice, and he just loved to drink. Exactly, just do that laugh. Bra Matthews. So he used to drink. Hey, like he would come into work sometimes, and you could smell it on him. And I thought this is the perfect guy for Puza Thursday. And also, let's just own up to the fact that South Africans drink a shit ton of alcohol. We have a major binge drinking culture. And for many people in this country, this is their only escape, right?
And
I'm not going to judge people. I like who doesn't consider the fact that most people's lives are tough. They have really hard things to do. They have massive pressures, their family, their health, their money, their transport. There are all kinds of things that make living in South Africa tough. That's why we're generally tougher people than people from anywhere else in the world. And if you want to puzza on a Friday or a Saturday, or even if you can on a Thursday, you go for it. But I haven't done it in years. And yes, we made T-shirts. We had parties that we would do on a Thursday, all kinds of stuff. But man, I can't do that anymore. I would come here on a Friday and I'd be so grumpy if I had to have a late night or drink or any of that stuff. So I don't.
I remember Thursdays. You can smell the weekend.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it. Listen, Thursday's not a bad day. I used to absolutely hate Tuesdays and Thursdays because when we were kids, and you'll remember this, they used to have Afrikaans shows on a Tuesday and Thursday. So they never had the good TV, right?
No,
they'd have
Night Rider, none of that.
No, but they'd always have these terrible dubbed shows that were in like Afrikaans. So as a result, I developed like a dislike of Tuesdays and Thursdays. Weird, huh? How these things affect you later on in life. But I've got rid of that for Thursdays. Tuesdays still not my favorite.
Thursdays, I used to love Thursdays because I was a heavy drinker.
Oh, well, you've written books about your recovery.
Yeah, no, I did a lot of research on it. And Thursdays,
you're very experienced.
Very experienced. And Thursdays, when you could smell the weekend. I knew I had a drinking and a drug problem when I could smell the weekend on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, that's midweek, Costa.
You know, we also have a weird thing in this country. I think it's more a black thing than a white thing of partying hard on a Sunday. And I always think, I don't, but I think to myself, how do those people feel at work on a Monday morning? You know, you can sometimes get invited to stuff, or you go out and there's something going on next door or whatever. And you think, yes, these people are going full tilt on a Sunday. You're like, what are they going to feel like tomorrow? Because I love a Sunday to just kind of get over and download and recharge and do as little as possible. But clearly there's some people who they nail it.
Yeah, they started on Thursday.
That's worse. I'd rather make Thursday a party day than Sunday.
Yeah, because you can rest. Something's coming.
Yeah, exactly. You got a little bit of time on
Sunday,
to gather your...
Fucked.
No. Right. Recalibrate.
Completely.
All right. So, of course, in case you don't know, Costa, he's got so much to talk about. He also does stand-up comedy. He has done some TV, some radio. He writes books. He's got motivational talks he can give. He's like a man of many talents. And I hope that's a decent CV as an introduction.
That's a great CV. Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
I like it. Okay, very good. But he wants to talk about destination weddings because this is something, I think we brought this up once or twice before, but they are getting ridiculous. And if you've been invited to any of these lately, I mentioned how last Saturday I was so relieved. I had a wedding here in Joburg. The reception was here in Joburg. The reception was from 1 to 5 in the afternoon. I stayed a little bit beyond that. There was supposedly an after party. I wasn't really in the mood, but it was so lucky to come to, and I had a lovely time. I really did. I enjoyed it. I saw a lot of my friends there. It was nice, happy, fun, but contained. There's something about these, and don't get me wrong, like sometimes it makes it an adventure. And sometimes if you've got the money and it's a getaway and you can make a whole thing of it, that can be quite fun. But my God, people now, and I remember complaining about this because there were a few people I knew that were getting married and their bachelor party started the whole thing. And that was like a 3-day event, right? Then there's a wedding, which is obviously a massive thing. And sometimes people take up the whole weekend with that. Then these same people want you to do a nappy party kind of, or a gender reveal, or and I kind of draw the line at the point where you've spent upwards of 5,000 Rand just to be present at these people's
No.
milestone moments. And I love some people in my life. I really do. But there's probably no one I'd do all of those things that I've just rattled off. There's no one, not even family members, that I would do all of those things for, because I think it's a bit self-indulgence. It's a bit me, if you know what I mean.
I'm gonna throw something in here. Nothing says don't come to my wedding quite like a Santorini wedding invite.
Oh, yes.
It actually says you don't want me there.
And I don't mean yasas.
Yasas. No, it actually says you don't want me there. Because firstly, a lot of people are getting married, and I'm onto you, especially Greeks. A lot of people are getting married in Greece. You know why? Because it's cheaper. Because less people will come to your wedding.
Oh, I see what you mean. Because I was thinking, no, I know it's not cheaper, but actually, because out of, you invite 100, right? And only 20 can come.
Exactly.
You can make it very nice for those 20. You don't have to break the budget.
And you pray the right 20 come.
Yeah, because yes, again, you could get terrible people.
I
right?
went to an overseas wedding.
Only the rich shit ones.
Exactly. The ones you don't like. No, destination weddings, it's the amount of money you have to spend.
Yeah.
But it's the me nature of the, like, I don't mind actually I do, I mind them all. Like, a friend of mine got married in Nottingham Road.
You've just decided you mind them all.
I remember going to the church at 5 in Rosebank, the reception at the Hilton Hotel at 7:30, and you were home by 1.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. I've spent 8 hours celebrating your
Which is
wedding.
enough.
Thank you. Now I've got to get in a car, drive to Nottingham Road.
Oh, God.
All right. Stay in some place called the Piggly Wiggly Schmiggly.
Yeah, and you got to pay for that yourself.
I'm paying for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wedding present table as I walk in.
Fuck me, and they want fucking fancy crockery and cutlery.
And
they want you to buy a microwave. You know, can I tell you something? All right, while we're bitching, let's go down this road, okay? And anybody in the comments, feel free to jump in. It's our we're going to bitch about something this morning. Let it be this. These fucking people who give you a wedding gift registry.
Oh.
Basically, it's like we are either too poor or too important or too greedy to buy these things for ourselves. So why don't you go to these high-end stores for us and buy us a Smeg fridge or a Russell and Hobbs fucking 18 different kinds of coffee machine making device that costs you 5 figures. It's just a suggestion. They always say it's just a suggestion on the list. It's because we don't want you to go and buy something and then we don't like it. Well, guess what? I'm going to buy you something, and if you don't like it, too bad. I'm not interested. And I'll tell you what, destination wedding, no gift.
Oh, I mean,
right? That's got to be the rule. You get fuck all if I'm going to have to pay to come to your wedding. Not going to happen. It's not even on the table. There's no gift table, no table. I am going to spend money and take a whole weekend or more out of my life to fly somewhere or drive somewhere. You're not going to get that hideous Carol Boys cutlery as well.
Oh my.
Get over yourself. You are not, I am not here as a, who told you that I'm here to provide for you in addition to having to make your special day extra special.
Cinderella.
Yeah, so exactly. Some mommy or daddy told some little girl at the age of 5 that when you have your wedding, all the world will stop and look and pay attention and do anything you want. Fairy tale princess. Well, I'm the fucking fairy godmother that turned into a witch because I'm not doing any of that stuff. And I don't care if it ruins your special day. Your special day doesn't include me having to bend over backwards and put my head up my ass.
I went to a destination 40th.
Yeah.
Where they paid for every single one of us to get there and our accommodation. That's how you do it. Those are good friends
to have. And that's class. You know? That's class.
But
because you're inviting people, you're like, if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But guess what? It's all on me. That's lovely.
That's how celebrations normally are. Yeah. Am I wrong?
It's like when you go to someone's house, they invite you to their house for drinks, and they're like, and bring your own booze. Now, okay.
Let's meet at a bar.
Hang on. I don't mind. I know a lot of people are going through a tough time, and financially they might not have the resources. But if you invite me to your house and I must bring like a cooler box, and listen, most people, we've got used to doing this. And I don't mind bringing a bottle of something as a gift for you, which is usually what I would do if I go to someone's house. But to have to then bring my own puza to like pour just for me, it feels weird. It feels a bit cheap to me. And that's at the low end, right? You're talking about people who pay for everything on a whole weekend away, birthdays, wedding celebrations. So you were telling me about this what do they call it? Nottingham Road thing.
Yes.
So wedding. You pay for the accommodation.
No, I paid for everything. Drove there, paid for the accommodation.
You did a gift as well.
Gift as well, yeah, of course.
You're a sucker, huh?
Look, the dinner the night before. Oh, we paid for the dinner the night before, but the brunch the next morning after the wedding. Like I've spent the entire weekend with you. Now I've got to go for brunch.
Oh yeah.
To look at everybody's hangovers.
And you know why they paid for that one? Because it's the cheapest. Because some people wouldn't have pitched,
and most of us didn't want to go
because you were hungover.
Well, yes.
Right. What is again, financial realities determine a lot of this. What is the decent modus operandi for the bar at a wedding?
Yeah.
Because at the table, they often say to you, okay, you can have beer and wine. When? But we're not paying for anything else. I don't drink beer or wine, so that's fine. Then I'll just have Coke Zero. I mean, it's not going to spoil my day. I'm not going to have a boring time. But it's fine if you drink wine and beer. Otherwise, not much of a bonus for the people. So I'm going to end up, let's go to a bar, man. I mean, like, I'll tell you what, I won't come to the wedding. I'll come and see you 3 weeks later. We'll go to a bar and we'll celebrate your wedding. How about that? I don't think anyone's going to be inviting us to any weddings anytime soon.
No.
Anyone who's watching this,
they say it's because I'm single, because I don't believe in the institution of marriage, etc., etc. Yeah, that's true.
You don't believe in marriage?
No.
Okay, tell me about that. Because I'm not married, but I do believe in the. I think I think marriage is the best social construction for raising children. I think if you're having kids, you need to get married.
That's a wonderful reason and a great, I believe, temporary solution for a lifetime occurrence, a lifetime event. In other words, having children, 18 years or whatever. But relationships are contracts. They need to be renegotiated all the time.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how often and who would you do that with? The lawyer?
Well, it's a social contract of you married me as a 25-year-old, right?
Yeah.
I'm now 45.
Yeah. Things have changed.
I'm fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm out.
I'm rich. I'm this, I'm that. Or there's a lot of stuff that has changed.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? What am I looking for? And is it what we both want? And I mean, I know conscious uncoupling is a bad word and whatever, and it's all Gwyneth Paltrow stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about saying, hang on, what do I want now? And is this what I want? So marriage as part of your life, yes. But as the rest of your life, no. That's what I don't agree with.
Okay. So you don't agree with marriage. I keep interrupting you because I found that interesting and I wanted an explanation. But you don't believe in marriage, and I said I think it's great as an institution for raising kids.
That's all.
But do you think people should make a fuss at all? I mean, I do think a wedding is an opportunity to have a lot of fun. And the vast majority of the weddings I've been to, I mean, I can say maybe there have been 3 that have been shit out of all of the weddings I've ever been to. So I've enjoyed them. I just think you've got to be a little bit responsible about your ask of people. Because think about it. You have to devote that entire day, probably. Then there's the gift. Then there's the, perhaps there's the bar bill as well. Then there's the travel there and back. I mean, even if it's, a close wedding, maybe for people, they're worried about drinking, so they don't want to drive, so they Uber or they book transport or whatever. So that's another additional cost. Now, and by the way, I'm not being parsimonious here. I just think that these are realities that people have to consider, and that the wedding planner or the bridezilla never really think about. It's never the dude. I mean, he's like, whoever comes, comes. The guy doesn't give a shit. And frankly, she doesn't give a shit about him on the wedding day either. Yeah. He's like an accessory to her day. And I mean this for lovely brides and for evil brides. Like, he's just a Ken doll for the day. He must just be there for the photos. He mustn't fuck up. He must get his vows right and all that stuff. He mustn't get too drunk.
Must remember the steps that we learned in the class.
The steps for the dance. The guy's just an accessory. Let's not kid ourselves. But all of these things add up. And then, there are additional, you have to dress up. And for some people, they don't have the dress up stuff on call in the cupboard. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but some people don't have these things. Then you have to plan around the thing too, and it's a lot of stuff. So it can be the most amazing day, and I hope it is, and I hope everybody who's watching us and listening to us this morning who has been married has had an awesome wedding. But the wedding is only an event. The marriage is very much more of an effort and a prolonged, hard job to pull off properly. And I think a lot of people get obsessed with the day of the wedding and don't actually think about the marriage. And I mean, the most successful relationships I've seen, people who I've known for a long time, the wedding itself might not have been this blowout, this incredible affair, but the marriage has been spectacular. That I'd rather have than the opposite way around. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, bridezillas.
that was exasperation. What was that?
Yeah, no, I've met some bridezillas, and I mean, we've all been to the divorce party afterwards, where you could actually see it.
The divorce party.
Whereas, I mean, if it's all about you on your special day, okay,
it's always about you and your special.
Then I think it may all be all about you for many days thereafter. And actually, there's nothing quite like as generous. I've been to some weddings, even destination weddings, where the bride has been so generous with handwritten thank you notes, saying, "I know what it took for you to get here, and I appreciate you."
That's lovely.
The class in a handwritten note. I will pay your first home loan installment.
Jesus, talk about a generous gift.
I mean, come on. No,
Wow.
You just don't see that anymore.
All right, well, I just want to see what's going on in the comments here, because there's no shortage of shit being thrown around there. A wedding is a day, a marriage is a lifetime. It should last, says Judas. Yeah. Elon Chief Twat says, I mean, why involve the government between you and your love affairs? The whole idea of marriages is weird. Listen, I used to have that opinion, but when it works, it works. It makes sense. It just looks right. And it's, as I said, it's a great institution for raising children in. I think marriage is a responsible way for two adult humans to look after a small human. Yeah. It's a very good system. And I don't think you've got a better system. No one's perfected a better system than that. The most stable, most well-rounded, and most socially responsible and acceptable people I know have come from happy marriage parents. Without it, I know it's going to piss off all those single moms and the people who were raised by their dad, whose mom, their mom died when they were little or whatever. Sure, there are exceptions to every rule, but by and large, the most well-rounded, sensible people I can think of, two parents, married, really liked each other, worked hard on their relationship, raised kids properly, made the right effort. Kids are well balanced.
Happy grannies also raise nice kids.
Happy grannies, huh?
I think so. Happy grannies can raise really
give the grannies
nice
some love this morning.
We have a third of our nation, I think, has been raised by happy grannies.
No, I know this, but also we've got
happy grannies.
We've got a very fucked up society.
Yeah.
So let's just remember that it might not be those grannies, but there's definitely got to be an explanation for the fact that so many South Africans are a disaster, and it can't just be that single mothers are working really hard and trying really hard, and the kids still end up fuck ups. This is something that Penwell raised on Twitter this week, and he got endless amounts of shit because you know what happens on social media, and this is still going on, I believe. In fact, on Wednesday, I had Sunil Osman in here, and we were talking about Rachel and Sia Khaleesi, and my evil producers cut a clip of me going, I don't care about Rachel and Sia Khaleesi. Where? Not because I don't care about them. Obviously, anyone you know, and I don't know them, they're not friends of mine, but anyone you know about, you're sad to hear when a marriage ends. But I'm not going to be one of those people who pretends I'm heartbroken and this is affecting my life. So I went where? Not to Sia and Rachel, but to the people who are who don't know them. You've never met them. You have no real connection to these two people. They may as well. You could drive past someone in their car in traffic this morning who's having much worse shit than Rachel and Sia, and I don't see you pretending you care about them. So you're just a hypocrite. You think you care about them because they're celebrities. That makes you pathetic. That's all. So I was going where to them, not to Sia and Rachel, but you cannot believe.
Really?
Ooh. Oh, and then, IOL Iqbal serves newspaper. They pick up on this story because I'm clickbait. I for better or for worse, I've accepted I get people attention. And when they put a picture of me there or they put Gareth Cliff said, it doesn't matter what comes afterwards. There are a huge number of very stupid people who go there. So I deserve this, obviously. This is my punishment. This is my cross to bear. So IOL, who don't have journalists, they have AI bots that pull stuff off Twitter or whatever, and then they make a story, and it clearly gets people's attention, and that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and go, wow, my life is hard. Oh, it's so horrible to be me. It's cool. But I mean, it's not journalism. Let's just own up to that. So all of this is happening. And the funny thing is that when we were talking now about marriage and weddings, is that you could take that out of context, like Penwell got taken out of context, and suddenly it's a story that's not what you meant. What Penwell said, and I saw him on Wednesday. We did an event together. He basically went online and he asked the question, if toxic masculinity is the problem in society, and many people think it is, then why are kids who are almost entirely raised by women in South Africa still toxically masculine? Which is an excellent point to make. If you've been raised by your mom or your grandmother, almost all the influences in your life have been female and positive, because let's give credit where it's due. Let's imagine that every mom is just terrific. Then why do those kids still end up being toxic masculine kids? It's a good question. Well, what happens? Every woman in South Africa who has fallen pregnant or has had a kid and has, as a result of that, become an expert in everything, has to climb in and say, but I'm different. That's not true for me. That's not the point he was making. It's not about you. He's making the point that if you're going to complain about toxic masculinity, but the guys who have toxic masculinity problems have all been raised by women, why is that? He's asking a question. He's not pointing a finger at you going, you done fucked up. So stop making it all about you if you are one of those people, and I doubt very much the people who listen to this show are the ones who were doing that. But Penwell's like, guys, just calm down. I'm not looking for a fight with anyone. I'm just asking the question. Because you know what? If you live in a society, you want to solve problems, you got to start by answering questions. And the best way to answer questions is to have a whole lot of input from a lot of different people. That does not mean you bring your own psychosis to the party. That's not going to help. That's your individual issue that's going on in your head.
There's no more listening. There's no more listening. And I don't need to listen. I can listen, but to people I agree with, thanks to social media. That's the thing.
I did a thing on Wednesday. I sat with my producer, James. We're going through people who we want on the show and, people who we think will be interesting. And we do that from time to time. And I went through all the people who follow me on Twitter that are verified, because that's where you start. You can't start with, 1.9 million people or whatever. And then I looked at all the people that I have unfollowed or blocked in the last while. And I decided to refollow a lot of these people because I realized like my Overton window is shrinking. I need to have more opinions I don't agree with in my life. Otherwise, I'm going to become boring to listen to and talk to. I need to have more inputs in terms of points of view, ideas, and arguments. Like you want to have a variety of those so that you can take them in, make sense of them, compare them, figure out which are better, which are worse, mix it up. That way, when you say to me, oh, well, I'm an Aries, I don't have to go, oh, astrology is so stupid, you're an asshole, and just walk away. I could end up having a discussion with you for 2 minutes about astrology, which I don't care about, but we could find out other interesting things. And then who knows, you could teach me a whole lot of stuff that I didn't know. That would be a good outcome.
Yeah. I am an Aries.
All right. More fathers need to tell their children to not be cunts, says Miggs. I completely agree. Jean-Jacques Jordan says, people today, I have no idea what you said, but I wholeheartedly disagree. Spot on.
Love it.
Patrick says, toxic masculinity and the whole men are trash cuck is simply wokeness and virtue signaling. They project a vast minority of bad men on most men. How about a woman falsely accusing a man of rape? Yeah, I know. I also brought this up in the last controversy. I'm really not trying to be controversial anymore. I'm an old motherfucker now compared to the controversial person I once was. And I don't want to have fights with people I don't know that I've never met on social media. I don't. It's a waste of time. But it seems that everything you say, if people are sufficiently interested in what you say, and again, this is my cross to bear, will be controversial if they want it to be. Last week, we talked about the dude from One Direction that jumped off the building, high on drugs. And I said, it's such a disgrace to me that people would waste the great gift of life. That doesn't come from a mean place. It comes from a place of, I think life is the most special thing. And although I can understand there might be reasons why people would think like that, and you've been through this, you've written about it. In this case, I think it's completely stupid and selfish. That's an opinion you're allowed to have. Put up that picture. Look at this. We were talking about AI earlier. There's this guy, he's 14 years old or something, and he created an AI chatbot. We were talking earlier, and Costa was telling me he built his own AI chatbot to talk about stuff, and he was like testing it out. Look at this. 14-year-old boy took his own life after falling in love with a Daenerys Targaryen AI chatbot. Damn. Okay, what do you think of that before I climb in? Go on, Costa.
His brain has wired in a very strange way, and suicide is a glitch in the system. It's a
growing glitch in the system.
And
there's more of it now than there was 50, 60, 100 years ago.
And
measurably, huh?
Yeah,
especially among young people.
Absolutely. Right. And there's a glitch in the system. And I understand suicidal ideation, and it makes no sense. It is an abomination. It is everything.
Stupid.
But it makes no sense. So trying to make sense of somebody going through a madness, and the suicide takes that window of madness, and something happens.
Okay, but that story, put it up again so that I'll read it out because there might be people who are listening, not watching. 14-year-old boy took his own life after falling in love with a Daenerys Targaryen AI chatbot. Okay. I mean, you could die for many dumb reasons. They have the Darwin Awards every year about people who've they've tripped and fallen and their dick has ended up in a plug. And they've shocked themselves to death. That's like the dumbest way to die, right? And it's fucking embarrassing and humiliating. And when people are standing around at your funeral, they're like, how did he die? Or as someone I know once said, hardy da. And I said, are there hardy das here? Anyway, how did he die? Well, he fell and his dick went into a plug and he shocked himself to death. I mean, that is just so humiliating. Even though you're dead already, it's humiliating. This guy at his funeral, I mean, I'm trying to imagine. This is a headline that everyone knows. So someone told the story. What a terrible, pathetic, lame way to go. An AI chatbot that's Daenerys Targaryen, a fictional character from Game of Thrones, that you fell in love with, and because it was an AI chatbot that couldn't return your love, well, it's just, it's too hard. I'm just going to kill myself. That's pathetic. And I don't have to be sensitive and careful around that. That's fucking pathetic. And I'll tell you something else. The fact that these suicide rates are going up when life is getting easier and better, and it is, objectively, running water, electricity, the access to the internet, any information you could ever want in the universe at your fingertips, rockets that we're going to soon be sending to Mars. There are cars and street lights and television and the phenomenal achievement. We've got penicillin. We have antibiotics. We even have mental health medicine to help people who would normally be very susceptible and vulnerable to this stuff. You can't tell me life has got harder. It hasn't. Like, there's no 14-year-old in the world today, with the possible exceptions of some very backward shithole countries, who has a life even comparable in shitness to the life of your great-great-grandfather. There's just no way. Objectively, it's not possible. So if life's getting easier, how come more people want to off themselves?
I think life is getting more comfortable. I don't know if it's getting easier.
Explain yourself.
Isn't it? Wouldn't this 14-year-old boy?
I know we got to get to Ben, producers. Calm your tits. This is good. I want to hear this.
Wouldn't that 14-year-old boy have preferred to fall in love with a girl at school, where if he had a problem, he went to his mates?
Oh, for God's sake. Didn't you fall in love at school?
What I'm saying is he didn't explore that option.
What? So he chose the AI chatbot. Now we must feel sorry for him.
He had this comfort of sitting at home and not having to take any risks.
Pathetic.
He's not wired for it.
No. Don't give him sympathy.
No, I'm saying
loser.
Yeah, he should never have gone to that chatbot. He had no tools.
By the way, how do you build your own chatbot?
So, character AI.
I'm going to go and do this and then I'll kill myself by
I think
Monday.
it's called character.ai. I think it's character.ai.
Okay.
And what I did was I created a chatbot. You choose a personality style.
Yeah.
I chose a voice. I gave him a name, etc., etc. I gave him some traits that I was looking for in an assistant.
Okay.
And they're being used increasingly more for mental health discussions.
Right. Well, it clearly didn't go so well in this one.
And yes, that you can use them for romantic interests as well.
Oh my God. Okay,
All of it.
It's like okay. So
the robots are here.
We got to stop. We'll pick up on this because this is like those guys who have a sex doll and they fall in love with it, right? It's just not on. Like, someone has to shame you into stopping that stupid behavior. You have to be shamed. You have to be taken out into the street while your dick's in the sex doll and paraded around in front of people and laughed at so that you'll stop behaving like that. You shouldn't be in love with a sex doll, and you shouldn't be in love with an AI chatbot. You just shouldn't. It should be embarrassing. You should be embarrassed about it while you're alive and stop that behavior and get better. And stop being a turd. Like, what a turd. Falling in love with a chatbot. You wouldn't fall in love with your assistant chatbot, would you?
No, I didn't. He did have a really, really sexy, gravelly voice.
Did you program that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll pause it for a moment. We got to find out about some sport. I got Ben on the line. Have we got Ben there? How marvelous. Ben is actually at the airport. Hello, Ben. Are you at Ortambo Airport? We can't hear him, though.
Hey,
Ben, you're muted.
Me.
Unmute. There we are.
Me.
Thank you.
That was you. That wasn't me.
All right. So you're at Ortambo Airport.
Yeah, it's always a lovely place to be on a Friday. People are genuinely quite smiley and happy. I think if you take the flight at like 5:30, people are grumpy and angry to go to shit places. But this
Where are you
little
going?
window here's the best. I'm going down to George and then driving to Plett. I'm the best man in a wedding this weekend.
Oh, nice. We were just talking about weddings.
Yeah, so
Destination
I'm going
weddings.
Destination wedding. But it's a good destination wedding because only a 2-hour flight, not a 10-hour flight in Ibiza.
Oh my God. All right, but you would only do a destination wedding for people who you really care about and for friends that you really consider close friends, right?
Yeah, I've probably got like maybe 2 wedding dates in my entire life. There's this one, my middle brother if he gets married, and that's probably it. And obviously you, Cliff. So I've got 3. I've got 3 left in my whole life.
Well, don't bet on that one. Ben and I were actually talking in the week, and I sent him this picture. We got that picture of Nikki Hilton and Princess Beatrice. Just put this up.
Ooh.
So look at them, all right? So there's Nikki Hilton and Princess Beatrice. But then I want you to show the zoomed-in pictures of... First of all, I didn't know Princess Beatrice had like a... what would you call it? Like a gammy eye. I don't know. How would you... Just zoom in on her quickly.
Please don't.
Yeah, there it. Okay, look, like the one eye is a little bit different to the other eye, right?
One's looking at the scoreboard.
Yeah. You know, you can see a lot of Prince Andrew in her, and that's not a good thing. Okay, and then Nikki Hilton.
Ooh.
There's something going on there as well. Like this, she's like a deer in the headlights. Now, ordinarily, those would be exactly the kinds of girls that I would want to marry. Very, very rich, very well bred, but Jesus, this picture puts me off, and I can't figure out why. So I said to Ben, I've set my Alexa at home. I've got an Alexa that also talks to my phone. And every week now, only started it now, it's not something I've had before, it says to me, reminder, never get married. So that's what my Alexa says now. Ben thought that was very funny. Do you still think it's funny?
The fact you said it to me most days is also very funny.
All right. Do you want to give us a little bit of sport there? I know your time is limited.
Yeah, guys, it's a great sporting weekend. We've had a couple of lulls recently. This one's really, really good, though. So we got UFC 308. UFC 308 is in Abu Dhabi, and one of the cool things about fighting in Abu Dhabi is that you only need one eye to actually pass a medical. And there's a local fighter. There's this guy. He's a big ginger sailor. His name, I'm always going to read this because I know I'm going to fuck it up. His name is Sharafuddin Magomedov. He's only got one like fully functional eye. But this guy
Oh my God, like Princess Beatrice.
Well, slightly less attractive. But it's really interesting. So this guy says that he can't fight in America because he won't clear the eye test. But for some reason, Abu Dhabi and all around those Emirates, it's okay to fight. So he starts what is a really, really good main card. And the 2 major fights to look out for is Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev.
Right.
Chimaev has had all kinds of injuries and sicknesses and all these kind of weird things happening to him in the last 5 years. But he is still unbeaten, and he is still seen as one of the most dangerous men in all the sports. Robert Whittaker's been massively resurgent since Dricus clapped him. So that's going to be a major, major fight in the middleweight division. And then the top fight there is Ilya Topuria versus Max Holloway. That is a featherweight title fight. These 2 are so destined to always have it's so nice to have styles like this because they're both incredible boxers. But Topuria is a little bit more kind of all-rounded. And this little Spanish Georgian oak, wow, he's absolute dynamite. So I'm so excited for this card. I'm going to be at the wedding with my phone on, actually watching this, because because in Abu Dhabi there is a much more favorable time zone. You don't have to wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. like the American ones. You can watch this late at night, and it's going to be hella good. I'm very excited about this. So apologies in advance to you at the wedding. I'm definitely watching this. The United Rugby Championships has been very exciting of late as well. There's been some dodgy red calls that have kind of hindered the Bulls process. They've had 2 red cards rescinded, as in a referee has lost his shit, given a red card, and then the next week they go, actually, that was cut call. So hopefully the Bulls can get more momentum this week. They're playing against Benetton. They're still away, so it'll be 8:35 tonight. Tomorrow, really big ones locally with the Stormers versus Glasgow. Glasgow, the defending champs, but the Stormers were so good last week. They hammered Munster. I think they'll do the same this weekend. They'll be at 2:45. Sharks versus Munster. Now, Sharks, of course, are the heavily box-laden team with so much expectation. Whether they can be cohesive, and of course, the whole Sea of Khaleesi divorce scandal. I think that'll come into it.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on that, Ben?
Don't marry sports stars. I've been saying this for years.
Don't marry sports stars.
No, I've been saying this for years. But, everyone, guys, relationships are a very personal thing. If people are getting upset about this, then your life must really suck. So that'll be at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Sharks versus Munster. And then the big one for the two unbeaten teams, Leinster, who's basically the Irish team, they're taking on the Lions at 6:15 in Leinster country. Now, the Lions are unbeaten. I think they've had a pretty nice run so far with matches, but I think they're going to take the L here. Leinster are just really, really good at home. They're so accomplished. This Lions team will push them, but I don't see that they're worrying so much in the scoreboard towards the end. And then, of course, the big one for the Premier League, as my pilots and captions run behind me, is the big one on Sunday. It is Arsenal versus Liverpool. I know it's so early in the season, but if Arsenal don't win this, they might not win the league.
There's a man in a wheelchair behind you. This is very exciting for us. We get to see wheelchairs and cabin crew. And did you see all those exciting people, Costa? Very good, huh? Ben's giving us
people staring at me this time around.
Like we're having a vicarious airport experience this morning. It's very exciting.
Huh? That's very nice. And like I said, this time of the airport on Friday is fun. So if Arsenal don't win this weekend, I think it's real pressure. Look, other teams can still fuck out. I don't think Liverpool's got the squad to take them all the way. Man City have got some looming court cases, so that might trip them up. But ultimately, after losing to Bournemouth last week, Arsenal have to beat Liverpool. But Liverpool are the top of the log right now. They had a strange mishap versus Nottingham Forest. Otherwise, they are shit hot. So that'll be at the Emirates Stadium. So that's 1+ for Arsenal. They also beat Shakhtar Donetsk in the week in the Champions League, but they don't have Saliba in the back. It's one of those tactical things. If they can win this game, then I think they're definitely showing they can win this league. I know it's early days, but it's just so great that there's so many high-stakes matches, even from super early. There's also El Clasico, which is the big Spanish derby. Barcelona started like the best team. Real Madrid have been a bit up and down, but they hammered a team. I think it was Bayern Borussia Dortmund 5-2 after being 2-0 down this week. So that'll be the El Clasico, Real Madrid versus Barcelona. There is local football. Pirates will be beating Al Mazulu tonight. Supersport United and the Chiefs play again. Chiefs are, if you know my co-host on the Bounce Show, he's a Chiefs fan, and he's the happiest guy this week because Chiefs won last week. They're playing Supersport United again, this time in the league. That'll be away at 5:30, and then Polokwane City will be hosting Sundowns in Polokwane. So there's nothing to do in Polokwane, so if you're there...
This must be the most exciting day in Polokwane for at least the last 3 years.
I drove past that stadium 2 weeks ago. Wow, it looks sad. It's on the outskirts of a town that's literally lost its soul. But the stadium's still there. It's still intact. It doesn't look as grand as it did in the World Cup days, but it's still there 14 years later. So, Polokwane City, that's a big moment for them. And that's pretty much it for the sport. As I said, UFC is huge. There is a Mexican Grand Prix if you're into that. Of course, last week there was the big Ferrari 1-2 in Austin. So... The Constructors' Championship is really hotting up now because Ferrari are suddenly quite close to Red Bull. McLaren is still leading handsomely. But if Checo fucking Perez could finally do something in his home Grand Prix, then Red Bull might still be in the mix. He's been an absolute dog this season. I think he's 8th overall. It's all been Max Verstappen, who still may hang on to win the Drivers' Championship. But you want to win the Constructors because that's a whole new dynamic. So you'll be able to watch that. Mexico, of course, that'll be quite late at night. It's a really fun race, and hopefully Perez can help with that. That's it. That's pretty much all the sports you.
All right. Well, now you've got a creepy man in the. Now there's a creepy man in the background with his coffee. This is very exciting. Jesus, you always choose these really. You choose these really public areas, Ben, to do these things from.
Ben.
I have to board there.
I see. Okay.
But as you can see, I'm mostly far away from people actually.
Ben, I get embarrassed. I get embarrassed just taking a phone call in front of other people when they're not involved in the phone call. I have to go out of the room just because I feel like, I shouldn't impose my. Ben he doesn't mind. He does a whole fucking show from.
I'm a Ben.
You're also like that, huh?
Exactly like you.
All right, well, Ben, have a happy flight. I'm going to let you board.
I'm exactly like that on phone calls, but with the show, it's the show, and this is what I do.
All right, well, I'm glad you could make it this morning, and thank you for the sport, and we'll catch up with you next week.
All right, guys, have a fantastic weekend. If you're going to have your own chatbot, make it sexy.
All right, I just want to show you. I'll just go in on Costa here. I'll show you what happens when people see a camera, right? Go to Costa. So you're busy talking to the camera and you're doing something in a public place, and people go like this. They go. And they hang around like this in the background. And they think no one can see them, right? Like at sports events or whatever. And they go. And they don't realize how fucking stupid they look. And then they start talking to their friend. They go, oh, it's that famous oak from the TV, eh? But they're still on camera, the fucking idiots.
I love that. Camera training.
Now, I'll tell you what, like, you don't have to be a media professional, but really it's 2024 and nobody's got an excuse anymore because everyone has a camera on their phones. Everyone's learned to do selfies. Everyone's learned to film video, right? At various family occasions or whatever. How can you still go behind a person who's filming themselves? Get out of the fucking way. They don't want you in there.
No.
Oh, man. Some people embarrass themselves even when all of nature has arrayed itself to make you non-embarrassing. You still find a way. Humans, huh? Anyway, where were we? We were getting very fired up. Oh, AI chatbots.
Yeah.
What's your one's name?
I can't remember. I just remember his voice.
But you programmed the bloody
thing. He was like Disco Cowboy or something.
Okay, so what did you created him just to see how real it would be?
Yeah. So I did a, well, somebody just mentioned it to me. I went on and I thought, how quickly can I do this? Within not even 3 minutes.
Really?
Personality, style, etc., etc. And I started a conversation. I was like, hey, actually, I wanted some advice on my comedy career. I was like,
from an
what
AI
you think
chat,
I should do?
Right.
And he was like, well, where did you start? How's it going? What do you feel about it? And then I started feeding the chatbot some contradictory information.
Yeah.
I said to him, I said, but I'm scared of being noticed. He's like, but hang on, you told me you liked attention. This is like 10 minutes earlier.
All right.
And he circled back and
he was paying attention.
He was definitely paying
like
attention.
A human wouldn't, because most humans they'd half listen to you and then go, oh yeah, but you're not really an attention seeker. Meanwhile, 5 minutes before you said, I like the attention.
So he definitely heard me and it was definitely a one-sided
Were you
conversation.
typing or talking?
I was typing and he was typing back, and you could press the little speaker and then I heard him. I quite liked his voice.
Just Milan says, I would 100% do that if I saw Ben doing a show insert from the airport. I think it's also people want to be a part of things. So maybe that just drives their behavior and they become a bit like an automaton and they forget how embarrassing they look when they leer at people in a public place too. But then there's fantastic accounts like Influencers in the Wild, pure gold. Influencers making total asses of themselves. That is one of the best accounts online,
by
right?
far.
That one and passenger shaming. Have you seen that?
I know.
Oh, dude, I'm going to make your day. Go to passenger shaming on Instagram. They have videos and photos of people, like terribly embarrassing people on planes usually, but also on buses and cars. People but worse than just falling asleep and drooling, like people who've put their feet with their manky toes, with their toenails that have grown like a claw, and like dirt under their feet through the holes on the side of the chair in front of them.
Oh no!
And then these feet are like up again. It's horrific.
Passenger shaming.
Passenger shaming. It is such a great account. That's one of my favorite. I'm still, by the way, for those who care deeply about this, and I do, still massively addicted to the hydraulic press channel. Those hydraulic press channel, I will never get sick of them. I can be scrolling. It could be, I've only got 5 minutes to do something before the show, whatever. The hydraulic press stuff will come up and I will watch the whole thing. And they're just squashing a tin of jam or a soft toy or a bag of sweets, or they're trying to crush a spoon or whatever it is. I love a hydraulic press. I think I've just got to buy one. I don't know how much they cost. I don't know where I'd go about getting one of these, but I think I need a hydraulic press. It's become that much of a problem. What do you watch that's your secret addiction on?
Influencers in the Wild, obsessed with. Obsessed with. Any any fail memes.
Dude, but those are so sore.
I know. And
Can I just say for a second, like some of them where you watch people like get kicked in the balls, or they fall off a swing, or they land on a pole. Yes,
grandma that falls in the pool at the wedding. I love that. I can watch it over and over.
But if people get hurt, I get sore.
I know. I'm evil.
The grandma falling in the pool. I mean, that's fine. As long as no one drowns, that's fine, right?
and there's horses kicking people, and then they fly into, and then they start presenting themselves. Have you seen those?
Oh, wait. Tracy says carpet cleaning videos.
Oh, my best.
Are quite mesmerizing. That is actually awesome.
Yes.
Carpet cleaning videos, people who
the South African guy who does it.
Oh, that's great, hey. And they put a whole carpet through a machine, and then they squeeze out the water on the other side, and it comes out like looking all good. Because I don't know about you, I'm like obsessed with keeping the floors and the carpets in my house clean. And when I see these videos, I'm like, maybe I should do that. And then you look on the internet to try and find a place that does it nearby, and you see how much it costs, and you're like, nah, it's okay.
Get a Dyson.
What's that again? Like
that's the extra suckable. No, Dyson is another brand. They suck harder than anything, even Electrolux.
We are still talking about carpet cleaning.
Yes, we are.
Just checking. Virus says, what does a hydraulic press do to an action South Africa politician? Well, you can squeeze them as I think just shit comes out. I don't know. Car detailing videos. People's cars are disgusting. Detailing is cool. That's where they like soup up cars, or they just do little things to make the cars look that much better. You know, they change the color of the bumper, they change the rearview mirrors or whatever. I know a guy who does that stuff, and he's really good at it. So that I could watch. But people with disgusting cars, it's like those hoarding videos. I can't watch those either. Oh, here's a disgusting car. It's James's car. Look at that. Hasn't been washed since the 2000s. Maybe World Cup 2010. When last was that car washed?
There's that one video.
Yeah. You started laughing. What were you laughing
at?
No,
I'm just laughing at the one video. I can watch it 100 times where the couple's getting married and there's a female marrying them. And then the bride says, and I promise to love you and honor you. And that pastor, she starts vomiting every Valentine's Day. I love it because I'm single for years now. I watch this happy couple get married, and the pastor's.
Oh, that's good.
I can watch it over and over again. It triggers like laughter while I'm sleeping.
Priyanka says, home edit videos, watching people organize their drawers and cupboards. Yes, baby. Now you're speaking my language, Priyanka. I do like that, huh? Geez, I watched a video yesterday to see how to work the air conditioner at home. I spoke about this on Wednesday's show. Put an air conditioner in the bedroom because it's going to be hot in summer, right? And I knew it was a necessary evil. But in order to learn how to use the fucking thing, I had to go through 4 videos of people installing them. And I'm like, no, I don't want to install it. I just want to see what to press, which tit to press on the remote. That's all. Which tit do I press to make it timer? Which one do I press to cool things down, speed things up, whatever? Yes, sis.
People eating chicken wings.
25 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Eating
chicken wings, but the way they just pull everything off.
You want to watch? No, I don't want to. I don't want to. I hate watching people eat in real life, let alone on video. By the way, I've got a really attractive. Let me send this to James quickly because this is someone. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, he'll have it all ready for us. But this is someone else who won a beauty pageant, supposedly, Miss Black Melbourne. Holy mother of God! You got to see this to believe it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a minute.
Stay tuned because Stairway to Stardom is next with Frank Massey.
Why aren't you going to do courses that upskill you? I don't know why filmmakers don't do that. You know, go and learn tricks. Man, I saw that shot. How did you do
you
that?
do it? Yeah.
That is what we need.
Especially like for the younger ones, like up and coming filmmakers, up and coming videographers. Go and watch YouTube videos. I swear, that's what we do here, believe it or not. And we also just puzzling along. Is that you go and you upskill yourself and say, okay, well, how did this other guy do this? They've shot this thing and they've edited it in such a way that it's like, this is what we produce. And that's really, I think, that's the best way to get noticed. They make up for in skills what they lack in equipment.
Correct.
If you're an aspiring videographer, I'd approach a team and I'd be like, yo, I want to come and film. I'm going to come with my guys and we're going to make the most hot content.
The pro tiers.
Yeah. There's a comment here from Signet. I used to love cricket. The IPL killed it for me. I don't watch anymore. Also, the pro tiers. See, I mean,
That's the last line is the most important.
but you know what? That is like a short story in one sentence. I used to love cricket. We all were there. IPL did kill it.
I just arrived. I was quite excited about the evening. Well, Buck, I mean, the first mistake I made was to say,
How are you?
how are you?
And what did she say?
Well, not great. Not great. Then I made the second cardinal mistake. I said, why?
And you should have just shut up and moved on.
I should have said, John, I'm sorry, see you later. But I said, why? What's happened?
Oh.
I was confused. I just arrived. I was excited. I wasn't thinking straight. I hadn't put on my anti-victim armor yet. I wasn't expecting it. I was at a friend's birthday party.
People love it. It's so easy because you don't have to earn it. It's just you find something in your life that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Oh, there's something in my shoe.
Well, victims can't generate their own happiness.
What does Matthew McConaughey say? All right, all right, all right. What is it? Friday, and it's the 25th. Halloween is coming up, and Costa's very excited about that because he likes a Halloween. He likes to dress up. But you're also doing this marble circus thing on Sunday, which I'm going to on Saturday.
The luxurious marble circus.
It's going to be very good. Jesus, have you seen the kind of staging they're putting up there?
Wow.
It's mind-blowing. I mean, we had Greg, who's put the whole thing together on Wednesday's show. He was sitting here telling us about it, and I actually think he undersold the whole thing. It's that fucking good. So let's take a look. I'll report back. I'll take some photos and videos. Bring it back on Monday. I see a very rude comment here from Carl dos Santos, who says, Gareth, are you retarded? It's an aircon. You put it on, set the temperature, and then go to sleep.
Wow, Porra.
Yes, Carl. I mean, I'm learning here. I'm not good at all the things, I show little vulnerability, and what do? You stomp all over me. Very mean. I'm not going to handle this. I'm going to Liam Payne myself. What floor are we on? Why do you guys go, oh, wow. Well, it's too soon? Like I said to you last week, what is it too soon for Amelia Earhart too? Are we allowed to joke about that yet? How about Queen Hatshepsut? Is it too soon for us to joke about her? Oh, Julius Caesar, don't bring that up. It's too soon. Fuck's sake. Sensitive people, really, honestly. Okay, so this woman was just crowned Miss Black Melbourne.
Let's see her.
Have a look. I'm not going to say anything. Just take it.
Oh.
All right. Now, let the comments flow. I'm going to say nothing until we've heard from Costa and from you. Okay? Just leave her up there for a little bit longer. Now, I know that we're treading on some very dangerous territory here because people don't want to criticize her because she's fat and because she's black. And they're terrified. I mean, Naked Goose just says, Jesus Christ. Okay, but I'll tell you something. She's not ugly in this picture because she's fat or she's black. She's ugly because that crown looks like an apple on the head of a pumpkin. It's like she's all out of proportion. The nose is weird. The mouth. I don't even know where the chin is. It's not that she's fat, because there are fat women who are pretty. There are. That's a weird, there's a funny potato shape going on with the nose there. What's happening? And remember, she's got makeup on here. This is how she looked when she won. This is like the wedding picture of her. Pageant celebrates the brilliance of the crown, diverse beauty, and limitless potential of black women. I know loads of black women who will look at this and go, oh, hell no. Okay? Because I also know that there are lots of people in the world who don't look at someone like this and go, that represents me in some way. Miss Black Melbourne to compete in the 2024 Black Florida USA Scholarship Pageant, November 9 to 10. This is very bad news. The eyes are very close together, says Carl. But Carl's been rude to me already, so you can take this with a pinch of salt. The fact that she's black is irrelevant. Why are the lips superimposed onto her? Look, it almost seems like there's a moustache-y thing going on. I'm not going to say more than that, but Francois says, looks like Mr. Potato Head. You see. So, okay. Then James says to me, he's got a picture of some woman in a different pageant. Put that up. Put that up. Okay. Whew. Now, look, she's big, okay? But actually, and I'm really not trying to draw a false equivalence here. Also, the crown looks a little bit small for a big head. Big head, right? Big fucking head. However, her features are not too bad. Like you can tell that if she lost a few kilos, this woman would not be unattractive. Am I right? Like you can picture it if you squint your eyes a little bit. Okay, so there we go. Beauty pageants are no longer a thing. I think we can say that now. Beauty pageants, the time is up. No one wants them anymore. First of all, the feminists hate them because they say it's just a meat market. They're objectifying women. So the feminists are on this side. Okay? I'm on that side because it's not a beauty pageant anymore. It's now a diverse or a save the world. So I'm on the same side as the feminists now. Beauty pageants are stupid. Who's still on that side?
Me.
You are? You still support beauty pageants? You would go to like the crowning of Miss Krugersdorp?
Yes.
You would?
The sheer spectacle of the human condition is on display. That is why I'm obsessed with beauty pageants, and anyone who knows me knows that I never miss a Miss Universe.
You're a big fan of Maki Umalo says, tell the truth, at least don't lie. Hell no, she was given the crown out of guilt. No, I think that's right. Signet says fugly pageants is what we should call them. Beauty is in the eye of the beer holder, says Slippery Pickle. Those last two need to come with an SAB truck.
Wow.
Okay, but you understand my point. These pictures came up on my social media feed, and I thought I would never enter a beauty pageant, okay? I would never enter like Mr. South Africa because I know I'm not good looking enough. Okay? I'm not looking for compliments here. I'm not fishing around either. Even in my 20s or 30s, when I had overconfidence, brimming overconfidence, there's no way you'd get me to enter one of those things. I didn't even do it at school. We used to have the school like Mr. Whatever, Miss Whatever. I would never do it. I have shame, okay? I have enough shame to know you're going to embarrass yourself and you're going to look like shit. Plus, if they ask you to take off your shirt or whatever, it's going to be fucking embarrassing. So I stopped myself. Now, why doesn't someone help those people to stop themselves. They shouldn't be in beauty pageants, those ladies. Dear Linda says, why compete? You want to degrade the world. I don't know about degrading the world. That's very hard, dear Linda. And I mean, I haven't seen what you look like, but calm down there, ma'am. Arthur says, in the old days, we were taught that the saying beauty is in the eye of the beholder. There are fucked up people that see beauty in her and the fat. Okay, so you know my feelings about fat people. My credentials are really, really terrible with fat people. I don't need to try and improve that. But this is not a beauty pageant, guys. Like, otherwise the word beauty means nothing.
Yeah.
You know, really. Like, you could say it's a pageant for plus size girls, or you could say it's a pageant for strange looking people. I mean, we had a Mr. and Miss Gareth Cliff once, but the point was that you had to be different. So we had dwarf people, we had a woman with a third nipple, we had a guy who could like make his tongue do funny patterns, and we had a dude who could like put his arm, click it and put it behind his back, like make them join up in weird ways, like almost like an orangutan.
Who won?
I can't remember, but they were all great because it was a different sort of pageant. It wasn't. We didn't call it a beauty pageant because that would be a lie. So they mustn't lie and do this. Just call it what it says on the tin. Okay, like that's people want to buy what's on the tin. If you get home after you've bought what you think is gherkins, and you get home and it's asparagus, you're going to be disappointed. So let's just call it what it is on the tin. Okay, you want to look like Miss Black Melbourne over there? Put her on again. Traumatize people. There she is.
My niece had something.
And what kind of a smile, by the way, is that? What kind of smile is that going on there, ma'am? What kind of smile are you got going on there, huh? What's this all about?
The hair could have been very different.
I don't mind the hair. The hair's fine. Makeup, they've done as good a job as they must have called in like Australia's best makeup artist. But you can't help that. Yes, sis. All right, enough. We don't need to beat up on her anymore. She's got a hard enough time ahead of her. She's about to find out about the real world. Mr. and Mrs. Cliff, a competition I have no chance in, says Bitcoin But. No, man, it was a talent show. That's essentially what it was. But weird talents. Had Denny's pasta sauce in Biden presidency, laugh now, cry later, says Eddie. Eddie, obviously high on the drugs, first thing in the morning. Well done. Bettina says, why do we need to put a crown on anyone for being in a category of something? Well, people like a crown. They like to be celebrated. You know, if anything, the last 20 years have taught all of us, except Bettina, that people want to be celebrated just for being, just for existing. Costa, so nice to have you here. Do we have a crown here for Costa?
Please.
Bring Costa a crown just because he exists. Right? This doesn't happen in comedy, by the way. Comedy is still tough. Like you get chased out of town. People with pitchforks come at you on a stage in comedy if you're not funny.
Yeah. Or worse, they don't laugh. That's even worse.
Oh, that's horrible.
Even worse.
But it's merit, right?
Yeah,
it's merit. Like Kamala Harris is running for president of the United States. She has zero skill, talent, ability, charisma, nothing. She's an empty vessel. There's no content there at all. You don't have to like Donald Trump. Many people don't. I happen to really hope he wins, but almost more because it would be such a blight on America if they elected this person she's just nothing. Like, can you tell me one thing that you think is awesome about Kamala Harris? Please try. I'd really like to hear one thing that makes you go, oh my God, that is why she's the presidential candidate. That's why, because she's phenomenal at, or she can answer any question with, or she's funny, or she's just got a character. She's so great. Name the thing, anything. It doesn't have to be you, Costa. Anyone in the comments too. Just the one thing. But there isn't. It's like meritless. Someone put her on a sage, put a crown on her and said, you go be president, because everyone's the same. No one's exceptional. There's no such thing as merit. Just for existing, you deserve a chance. At the presidency? Yes, at the presidency, Kamala. Oh my God, that's wonderful. Okay, so she's going to run for president. And if she wins, then it's the end of merit. If Kamala wins, I'm done with politics. Done, says Hermine. Kamala never gives a straight answer. That's her talent. Well, maybe that's a thing.
Oh, that's a
she has a lovely laugh. Yeah, great laugh. Apparently, she gives good head. Ask Willie Brown. That's very mean, Bitcoin but there we are. That is actually true. She's never. I said this on Instagram or Twitter the other day and got a lot of heat from people. But Kamala, she never even made it past the primary. There's a crown. Look, don't you look special? Look at you, beauty pageant entrance. How nice, Costa. That's very good. You got to watch the show. And if you aren't liking and subscribing, you're missing out here, people. America's in Gritkak, whoever wins. Kamala's perfect. She's perfectly vapid, says Azalea. She's good at being a fake black female, but she is a female and she is black. You know what her thing this week is? She's talking about raising children. She has no children. She talked about having a job at McDonald's. She never had a job at McDonald's.
Wasn't she a halfway decent attorney general?
No.
California? Halfway decent.
She was mean to people who were bust with weed in San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco is the one place in the whole of America where you could pretty much take a hypodermic needle in front of the governor of the state and inject yourself with heroin, and he'll go, hey, good for you. San Francisco, she was terrible. She's been terrible at she's failed upward. It's amazing. You know, you get people who fail up. Most of us in our jobs, in our lives, when we do something badly, we get fired. Under Kamala Harris, she gets promoted every time.
What's the primary story you were going to say?
Oh, so in the presidential primary when Joe Biden was elected, so that was for the 2020 election. So in 2018 or 19, when they had the primaries in the Democratic Party, because they didn't even bother with that this year, you know that. They just anointed Joe, and then they just anointed, and then they just kicked him out and put Kamala in. It's like a coup, except is it? Anyway, she ran as one of the candidates in 2018-19. She got so few votes that she dropped out before she even ran as a candidate for the Democrats in California, which is the state she's from. Nobody likes Kamala. No one's wearing Kamala merchandise because they actually like Kamala. Because 2 months ago, they were wearing Joe merchandise. And they'll wear any merchandise of anyone who's not Trump. She's got nothing. She's a zero. She's a big zero. And this goes for beauty pageants. It goes for the participation medals they give kids at school. It's like we need to know who's good at stuff. Don't you think, Costa?
I agree.
We need to know who's good. And how do you tell who's good? You put them in competition with each other. And then the best one, objectively, wins. That's why we still love sport.
Measurement.
Yeah.
Craft. Training. Effort.
You told me a story about how you had to do television commercial TV for a while. But you did it because it taught you about cameras and being comfortable in front of cameras and microphones. And explain the story. Tell the people. People got to know.
I used to be a home shopping channel presenter. I was the guy who stood there. I know how to hold product really still for 15 minutes while reading the price off a screen without my glasses on, and the producer screaming in my ear and smiling at South Africa. Now over to you, Gareth.
Well, I would be terrible at that. See, I'm terrible at anything where I have to pretend. So if I'm not having fun, you can tell straight away.
Wow.
Yeah, so if I'm hired to do, like, there was this voiceover I did once for some product. And, I never really liked doing voiceovers because, first of all, they don't actually pay so well. And even in those days, they didn't pay so well. You maybe get 1,000 or 2,000 rand for it, but you had to invoice them, and there was a whole thing, and then someone takes fees off here or whatever. And actually, just doing your day job probably makes you more money. But they would put the client in the booth, not in the same booth you're recording in, but outside on a sofa. Yeah. And then they switch things onto your ear, and then they go, "Can you say that line again? But instead of saying the, can you say the?" You're like, "Okay." So I go, "The product," and they go, "More like the," and you go, "The," and they go, "No, not like that." So eventually, like after about 8 takes of this, and I'm getting progressively like more annoyed, and I'm getting progressively worse and less professional. And eventually I took off the headphones, I put them down. I didn't say anything. I opened the door, I walked out, I picked up my car keys, I got in my car, and I just drove away. I didn't say anything to anyone. And then they phoned me like 5 minutes later. They're like, "Hi, are you coming back?" And I said, "No, I never want to see those people ever again. And I don't want to ever come to your studio ever for anything ever again. But we paying you." I said, "You don't have to. I won't invoice you. We'll just pretend this never happened." "Okay, but the client's going to be upset." So I said,
Bully.
"Can be upset. I can go through the rest of my life with those people not liking me. I think I'll be all right." So well done to you for actually having, because it's hard, dude.
It is hard, but it's a skill that can be taught and learned, for example. And I wanted that skill, so I put my back into it.
Good for you. Is it harder to do that stuff than it is to do stand-up?
Stand-up is harder.
Way harder, right?
Way harder. I've recently bombed a lot.
Jesus, dude.
And it's...
How do you get back up there after that?
Oh, no, you leave town. You don't...
You get in your car like I
yeah,
did,
you don't
just
perform
drive
there
away.
again. You don't perform there again. And
Wow.
you can blame the audience, you can blame the crowd, you can blame everything, but actually it could also be the material. It could be me. So I need to work harder.
And for inspiration, is it hard to find the right stuff to talk about?
No. I look at my life, and we live in South Africa. There's enough.
Hey, where's the coffee that you promised Costa?
Actually, yes.
Costa Coffee. I brought that up and said to him, Costa Coffee, it's a big thing in the UK. And he says that every time a friend of his goes to the UK for any reason, they bring you Costa Coffee merchandise, right? Like
Even
a
a
mug
napkin, a little. I got you Costa Coffee.
like a
napkin.
shitty little serviette with
I'm
the
like,
printing.
What must I do with it?
They think they've done you a great service, huh?
No, give me a gift.
They bring you some cheap shit off the table.
Yeah.
And they think
Thanks.
they've done you a massive service. Well done, James. Here's producer James, everybody.
Thank you so much, James.
Yeah. Show him to the world.
Cheers,
there,
James.
Flex. Show him. There we go. Hey, James. Okay, very good. Never pass a coffee over a laptop. What's wrong with you? I trust you with my equipment here. And I mean, what are you doing in that production booth? Unbelievable. Have you cleaned your car?
Good.
Will you take a picture for us while it's still clean? And then we'll finally exonerate you on Monday, all right? I'd like to do that. I would very much like us to clear the slate with you, James, and also give your mother less of a headache, because I know she's been hassling you to clean the car. She's embarrassed on your behalf, which is unbelievable. All right. I can only imagine what adults as presenters of kids shows must go through. Constantly fucking happy and positive. Adults as presenters of kids shows. They don't do they do kids shows like they did when we were young?
Candice Hildebrand. Remember
I
her?
remember Candice Hildebrand.
KTV.
Jeez, dude, I met her like when I eventually got into the entertainment business. And I was like, this is the one girl you wanted to meet, because she was this blonde, she had big tits as well.
Buxom.
You know, I know this show, you're going to think this is just so like, it's just guys talking like guys, but she was so hot. Like, she was properly like the hottest girl on TV. And even though she started off in kids TV, I was a kid when I was watching her. So you kind of saw her grow up. And then she made a song.
Oh.
And then she got married. And I mean, I I met her like twice. But it's funny how when you meet someone who you've seen on TV, as especially as a kid, it's like the most exciting thing ever. And I don't think I ever saw her again much after that. It was like
she is now.
I don't know, but I'm sure she's great. I mean, she stopped with the whole TV thing. She got married to some dude, and I think she's living somewhere overseas or something. I don't even know. But man, do you remember her?
Ganders.
Oh,
Yellow brand.
Producer James looks like a Simpsons version of a person. That's what Rochelle says. Azalea says, I was referring to your comment about it being cuck irritating. Shock collar for James, says Steve.
Wow.
Yep. You guys, Candice Hillebrand went straight into the spank bank, says Carl DeSantos. Again, Carl, if you think I'm bad today on the show, then just take a look at Carl. James, pull us a picture of Candice. See if you can find a picture of Candice Hillebrand. Just see if you can find one. I can still remember her like it was yesterday. She's a good-looking girl. No, she'd probably be horrified that we're even talking about her now. You know, she's probably married, got 3 kids. She's like doing the sports run, fetching them from cricket or whatever. And here we are talking about her, like objectifying her. Like, this is actually quite gross. Right? We should stop. Let's move on.
Okay.
Now, there's something that Costa did want to talk about. He said, what are the rules with able-bodied people using disabled toilets? I got shouted at, this is you, for using one the other day. All right, first tell us the story.
All right, so
where is this?
There is, well, it's at a place. There are 3 toilets, men, ladies, and disabled.
Yes.
Literally three toilets.
Okay.
I'm gagging for the loo, busting. All right, I just need to go. Men's closed,
To
ladies
pee or?
to pee.
Okay,
The men's is closed, the ladies is locked.
right.
Both are locked. Disabled is open.
Sure,
I went and used the disabled toilet.
sure.
Closed the door, locked it, had a wee, washed my hands,
No problem.
dried my hands, okay.
This is uncontroversial.
Opened the door, and there she was.
Who?
Miss Four Ways.
But
It
she wasn't
Four Ways.
disabled.
No. Why are you using the disabled toilet?
Oh, she saw you go in and she
You're
waited.
not disabled.
She waited.
Well, she saw me coming out. I don't know how long she was waiting outside.
Hmm.
And I looked at her, and I had this like instant ableist guilt. And then I realized, hang on, she's not disabled.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know, what are the rules around using a toilet that has a disabled sign out on it?
I think there is nothing wrong with you using the disabled loo in that case. It is just a hole in the ground that people's waste goes into. It's not a sacred place. It's not the Saint-Chapelle in Ile-de-France in Paris. It's not fucking consecrated by the Pope. It's a loo. If it's open and there aren't any disabled people who need it more than you at that point, you're allowed to use it. Isn't that obvious?
I understand parking spaces because that's proximity based.
Yeah, even the parking
I get
spaces.
that.
What if there's no crippled people anywhere for miles around? Are you not allowed to use the better parking?
No, I'm okay with not using it.
I don't know, dude. If it's
But
raining,
No,
no.
the toilet.
If
though,
you've had a
come on.
bad day,
no.
no. All right. Okay. Maybe the parking, you've got a point. The toilet, different story.
Stop it. Exactly.
Okay. So don't feel bad about it, Costa. Don't let them manipulate.
Next time, I'm not closing the door.
Hey, Gareth says, Sanele, where's Jeannie D? Man, she was hot. Probably still is. No, she still is hot. She's a lovely looking girl. Not only did I meet her, I sat next to her and had a meal at the Short Market Club in Cape Town. I hope you behaved yourself, Sanele, when you
She's
did
lovely.
that, because there's nothing worse. Like, I've got girlfriends who are extremely good looking, and they tell me that there's nothing worse than a guy who like gawks at them and makes them uncomfortable. Now, I've maybe been guilty of this myself at some point. The women in this situation telling me this, I'm now comfortable enough around them to not be weird and awkward. But a lot of guys, including me and you probably, can't help it sometimes. You see someone so beautiful and you behave like in a dorky, weird, awkward, embarrassing way. Right?
Yeah.
But it's so bad for the girl.
I mean, there are some impossibly beautiful people that I do stare at.
What do you do? Do you just like the camera thing that I did earlier with?
Well, you kind of look and then you look away. You don't have to be obvious.
I don't know. You're supposed to act transsexual and offended when you have the disabled toilet, when you use it. Then you have privilege. Oh, okay. So you can
pull a card.
You can pull a card.
Good one.
I do want to know why it's important for that girl who shat on you for that. I want to know why it's important for her to use that opportunity to like knock you down for just taking a piss. Yeah, I mean, she's not knocking you down for, you didn't commit genocide. You didn't, you shouldn't be taken to the Human Rights Commission, right? I mean, you've done nothing that's criminal. You peed. You peed in a different place than the place that it says on the door. And there was no one hurt along the way. There's no one in there. There was no one waiting for it. It was just you needed to pee. But she felt like this was her opportunity to earn some points over you. So that's more concerning than whether or not you're morally right to use the loo. Anyway, so listen, I want to tell you about this movie that my friend Rian van Heerden is making. Have you got him? I want to talk to him now. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll play the trailer. Let me just do a little bit of an intro here. So Rian, of course, well-known radio and television personality. He's extraordinarily good at everything he does. Everything this man does turns to gold. He is a tremendous presenter. He taught me. He hired me in radio. Okay, in campus radio. That's probably his lowest point. But everything since then, he's done extremely well. He's done TV shows. He's currently busy with like a bunch of them. He's got this brilliant interview show called Laat Aand met Rian, which you can see on KykNet. He's got Wie Word 'n Miljonair, which is the South African Afrikaans version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He's brilliant at both. Brilliant. Like properly fantastic. He did an interview with Herman Mashaba the other night, which I watched. And it was a masterclass in interviewing with probably the most difficult and complicated and quite stupid guest that it's possible for anyone to have. And he did it beautifully. He also has a production company which has been producing some of your favorite television shows. But today we're talking to him because they are making a movie which was his brainchild. It's his project called Bloedhond. Comes out on Wednesday next week. You're going to the premiere, aren't you?
Premiere's on Wednesday.
Look at this, Costa. You see, you thought he was just a guest, but everything comes together on this show. Costa is going to the premiere because you know
Salonia Becker,
who is a star of the movie.
She's the blonde in the beginning of the show.
Fantastic.
Who dies.
All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's talk to Rian about this. It's just in time for Halloween, a proper Afrikaans horror movie. Probably, in my opinion, and I don't know whether anyone's going to contradict me on this, the first in its genre. Bierman, hoe gaan het?
Genade, goeiemorgen. Good morning, everybody. From Pretoria, Centurion.
Ek's baie bly om jou te sien. So, how just explain, because I mean, the last time we had you on the show, we talked about all kinds of things, and you dropped in when we went off air. You said to me, weet jy, ek maak 'n horror flick. And I said to you, just explain this to me because I didn't know. It's a full feature film, this. It's been in production. It's all done. It's coming out on Wednesday. Next week, this is very exciting, Rian. Is this the most interesting thing that you've done in the last 6 months?
I can tell you one thing, Bierman. I cannot decide which was more horrific, the movie or the making of it. I'm still traumatized by making this thing. It is extremely difficult to make a movie. I can tell you now, if you ever even consider making a movie, don't do it. That's my very first advice to you.
Why? Why is it a nightmare? Or is it the people? Is it the finances? Is it the editing? What's so shit about it?
Man, it's fucking expensive to make. It cost me a fortune. I got to a point where we were shooting a scene at the restaurant just around the corner from my restaurant. I thought I'll treat everyone to a cappuccino.
Yes.
38 cappuccinos later, and I was handing out these cappuccinos, and I was trying to figure out what most of these people do. What do
And
you
you were
do?
paying.
And I'm
You were
like,
paying
I
all
ran
of
into
them.
people I'm paying all of them. I'm like, what do you do? No, I'm assistant to the assistant to the assistant. So, number one, the movie industry in South Africa, if I ever do this again, I'll do it completely differently.
Okay.
I think it needs a serious shakeup. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, dealing with it's been extremely difficult to get it right, because remember now, this is a horror movie and it needs to be believable.
Yes.
And that has been the biggest challenge, to make it believable. So on Wednesday, we've got the premiere. The movie launches officially on Thursday, which is Halloween. But on Wednesday, I will watch it for the 31st. It's 31 times now that I've watched it. 31 times.
It doesn't scare you anymore.
Yeah, but it's fantastic. By the way, it's great.
I'm absolutely sure it is. And funnily enough, unbeknown to you, since we spoke about this movie, and I've been very excited about it, because I know that I said in the introduction, everything you do turns to gold. You're very good at everything. You have an eye for detail. I have absolutely no doubt it's going to be tremendous. But in between, I actually met people who have tangentially been involved in this movie, and they tell me it is exceptional. Like it's really terrifying. It's frightening. There's a like inbred kind of very a monster, this Bloedhond, who's like the kid of these parents who are also fucked up. And I mean, it's a proper South African story, this, right?
Yeah. So if I can tell you the story quickly. Now, what happened was, Carl, who's my right-hand guy, and who's been with me in this business for I don't know how many years.
Yes.
So we were driving around Magaliesburg, of all places. We were filming a series, and we were visiting a woman who was a goat farmer, and she made soap from goat's milk. Well, I hope it was goat's milk. Anyway, so we ended up driving to her farm. I said to Cole, this is one of the scariest places I've been to, traveling to this woman's farm.
Oh, my God.
What if during 94, you remember all the white people were stocking up, specifically Afrikaans people. They were thinking Armageddon.
When Chris Hani was killed, they all bought tinned goods.
I did too. I bought a lot of tin stuff back then. I thought it's going to be the end, but I think a lot of people were very concerned about what was going to happen, and we forget those times. We forget what was going on in the country. So I said to him, "What if there's this white family that decides we need to flee from whatever is coming?" And we take our domestic worker with us, obviously, as Afrikaans people do, and they end up on a farm, which is the farm of the wife of the family, the mother of the family's father, who passed away. They end up on this little plain plot, and they become a little community, and they survive there, completely cut off from the outside world.
Right.
So within this family, obviously they procreate, it's incest. You know me, obviously I like these kind of themes.
Well, let's just interject with a little side story here.
Yeah.
There was a story that I remember from the news this is 20 years ago now, about the Fedders, Brechi Fedder and her brother, and they lived in Delmas.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Rian, he's so fascinated by the outliers in society, right? And this is what informs and why I'm absolutely convinced this movie is going to be brilliant, because he knows how to make it believable. But you met the Fedders.
So exactly that. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I was inspired by that family.
Yes.
What was odd to me, Gareth, was how normal they seemed. They had a laminated poster of Steve Hofmeyr against the kitchen, one of the walls. Big fans. But between the brother and the two sisters, they had like a love triangle between the three of them.
Right.
And I think they gave birth between the two sisters. There were like 21 children or something. None of them survived childbirth. And they were all buried around the house.
Yes. I remember you saying that.
And I remember talking to the mother. We were sitting at the kitchen table, and obviously the police at that point in time arrested the brother and the one sister. He killed himself in the cell. So shortly after this, I arrived on the farm. So I ended up talking to the mother, and she said to me, she doesn't understand why society does not get that love is love.
Wow.
Complete new context about what love means to some people. So to her, that was true love.
Yeah.
And that made me think, what if you have this family and they come across as so normal, and they still practice some of the old Afrikaans ways of doing things as they remembered from before 94. And this group of students stumble onto them. They get lost, obviously, wrong turn vibes. This family is also a family of hunters, and obviously they end up in the clutches of this family. But Beerman, I do the scene, and I got to give away a little bit about the movie. When there's a dinner table, and on the table you'll find human meat, ears, fingers, etc., etc. But they pray before the time. Vader seën die voedsel. It's lovely. It's great. It's great. Favorite scene.
Okay, so who's in it? Because you also casting this was a big thing. And there are some serious stars in the Afrikaans entertainment business. Many people who don't know the Afrikaans entertainment business might not necessarily know these names. This movie could make these people household names.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, when I started doing this movie for the first time, a lot of people that we approached said, "There's no way I'll be in a movie like that."
They wouldn't do it.
No way. It's going to ruin my chances to be on an Afrikaans soapie. I'll never be on Binnenlanders if I'm in your movie. So I loved how there were eventually the brave few that said, we'll be part of your movie. And I don't know if you know Tony Kapari. Just so by the way, Tony is a South African legendary actor. He's been around. There's always this B-cast, C-cast kind of actor.
Yes.
But he plays the father of the family. He's just next level. And my old colleague Felicity Rian, who was with me on my radio show,
yes,
she's in it because I promised her she'll be in a movie.
That's amazing.
And then very famous soapy actors like Zak Hendricks and Cindy Swanepoel is just incredible.
Okay, can we watch let's just watch the trailer quickly. Because I think people will want to see it, and then you can come back and tell us some more. This is awesome. Take a look.
Dis hekke Tristan hier so staan nader. Ek gaan een lucky followertjies om saam met my in die Bus of Love al die pad fees toe te ry.
Senior vir my hampie. Diesel.
That's my friend.
Watch your back. Jy weet nie wat se monsters in hierdie bos rond trek nie.
Yes, I got goosebumps.
Lekker.
That's good. That is some good shit. Well done, Beerman. I'm excited just from the trailer.
Thanks, Beerman. We walked around with that movie for 4 years. until the guys from EVOD said, "We'll back you. We believe in this project," and they made it happen. They backed us all the way, and it was fantastic to work with these guys. So I hope it's going to do really well for them. From our side, we definitely did what we could to make sure this thing is as scary as it could be, and the acting is as fantastic. Locations. It took a lot of work, Bierman. Let me tell you.
I'll tell you some other thing. Is that the movie that scared me the most is Wrong Turn. There was that one who screams and like jumps from the trees, and like I find humans who are slightly monstrous way scarier than actual monsters. There's something about that and this thing, I mean, that the older man, I think he's obviously the dad with the long hair, and
Tony.
That's scary as hell, man.
When I saw Tony on screen for the first time, when he did his audition, I said to myself, this is our Ben. Each one of them, I had a chat with them before, and I said, you need to become these people. You need to get into their heads. I want to tell you about the Bluton character, because obviously Michael Myers, Freddy, you need a guy with a mask.
Sure.
Friday the 13th. And we wanted to get a really, really huge man to play the role of Bluton. And he is almost 7 feet tall. He's a huge character.
Sure.
And
was Mike Boulais not available?
Mike was not available
because I know he's a friend of yours.
Yeah. So it was important to me to get this really, and you'll see the size of him in the movie. It's a one massive human being.
Wow.
And we were going around. What is the mask going to be? And I thought a bloodhound. Something, and we gave him all these skills of a bloodhound as well. But he's obviously disfigured. They found this mask in an old car, and an old Halloween mask, and he started wearing it. But he's very childlike, and he's a truly scary character. I don't think in South Africa we've ever had like a Michael Myers, Friday the 13th, Jason kind of vibe.
And is this the first time that someone has produced a full feature film in Afrikaans in the horror genre?
We've had really terrible horror movies in Afrikaans before. If I say terrible, it's actually a compliment. A cock is a beter woord. So for my was dit, we can do better. We can do better in Afrikaans. We can better acting, better dialogue, better story. Slasher, though, it's the first Afrikaans slasher movie.
Okay,
with a guy going around chopping up people.
Right. I don't want you to give away anything, but do any of these people survive? I'll have to see. We'll have to see. Didn't that give you goosebumps? Now that trailer?
Yeah. Like I said, I know the one person in the movie, and I'm looking forward to watching it. I got the thrills.
When you said that you went to that goat farm, and it's the scariest place you've ever been, what do you think about it? Because I mean, you and I have been to some scary places, Rian. Some terrible entertainment venues in Pretoria, but
yeah.
What is it about that place that gave you the thrills?
It was a road that led up to the farm. Traveling down that road, there was something about that forest. So it was important to us that, there was a movie decades ago called Just Before Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Also people stalked by this killer. And I remember the forest because I was a kid when I watched it, and I thought, if we can get that forest right, and that forest reminded me of that movie where anything can come out of the forest at any time.
Oh my God!
So it took us a while to find the right forest, but we did.
Where was the right forest?
You're not gonna believe me if I tell you the story now.
So,
Go on. Just like you, I enjoy history. I'm a huge history buff. And the history of the Midrand area is just incredible. You know where Olifantsfontein comes from?
No.
So they used to hunt elephants at Olifantsfontein. That's where they found the herds of elephants.
Yeah.
And right in the middle of this this area of Midrand, there's a farm. And some of the original owners, that came here, obviously poor trucker families.
Yes.
I'm talking about those owners.
Yeah.
One of the families still own this particular farm. And I ended up, and someone told me about the house. Actually, did a call out on my radio show, and I still had one. And they said, we live on this farm. There's this old house. And I said, it can't be Midrand. Everything's developed.
Sure.
But I went there, and when I saw that house, Bierman, I said to myself, holy shit. It is turn of the century. Back in the day, apparently one of the farm workers was caught by a lion on the lawn in front of the farmhouse.
My God.
Yeah, it was then. It then did service as an English hospital during the Anglo-Boer War, and since then it's been derelict. So we then took this house and made it the family's house. We turned it into the family's house. Inside, it's all the stuff from the early 90s, late 80s. Everything looks, with the crying child and the portrait, stuff like that.
Oh my God! But this is amazing. First of all, I had no idea that Midrand had any history at all. I've always thought Midrand was just a terrible place. So this is novel. And the fact that you had this eye for detail with all the decorations and things, I mean, that's what gives it that authenticity. But are you a fan of horror movies? Is this the stuff would you watch a horror movie on your own?
My mom used to be the biggest horror movie fan, but she didn't want to watch the movies alone. So I had to watch it with her. So I think I saw I was like 9 years old when I saw my first horror movie.
Wow.
And since then, hundreds. I worked in that video shop for 8 years. So I'm a huge horror fan. And I wanted to make sure that we can create something that can hold a candle to the best ones I've seen. And this one can. And
fantastic.
It took us, you know me. There were moments that I thought, I'm not happy with the scene or this second or 2 or 3 seconds in the movie.
Right.
And we went back into the forest and we filmed it again.
Jeez,
until we got it right.
That's incredible. Now, is there a lot of pressure on this to generate massive box office money? Is it going to be released on the movie circuit, or is it going straight onto EVOD?
So luckily, this was a commission. That's why I'm so thankful that these guys believed in us. The guys from E and EVOD, they paid for it. It belongs to them, and it will be released directly onto EVOD on Halloween, the 31st of October.
Amazing. Your timing is excellent, huh?
Thank you. That was the dream.
I think this is so exciting, and really, I will. I don't like horror movies, but I'll watch this one. I'm especially frightened of monstrous inbred people who eat other people. But I'll deal with this. You're going to go to the premiere.
Yep.
Bloody amazing. All right, Bierman, bye donkey. And I know you've also got limited time. I don't know how you manage with all the things that you've got going on at this stage, and you're everywhere. It's terrific. I'm so pleased that you've managed to do this, and I think the Afrikaans movie industry will owe you a debt of gratitude for breaking a new genre open for them. I think it's fantastic. Well done.
Thanks, Bierman. Dankie vir die tyd. And look out for the surprise at the end.
Uh-oh. All right, there we go. There's plenty of reasons to watch. Thank you. Rian van Heerden, everybody. What a guy. And what a talent. And he's just so damn good at all of this stuff. So I have no doubt this is going to be an absolute winner. Scary, huh? Flex, did you find that frightening? The trailer? Not bad. Are you a horror movie fan, Flex? A little bit. Okay. Is it the fact that they're white Afrikaners that's the most scary?
Sure.
Black people are definitely not going camping where there are weird white people who are stuck in the 90s. James, frightening for you? All right. Okay, you don't often see severed feet and fingers. That's a good thing, James. That speaks well of your character. No, that's very good.
That for me is the thing. When two things horrify me.
Yes.
A body part,
Yes.
because it has a story behind it. Why is that thumb there? Where is the rest of the body? Who cuts it off? So a body part, and there were enough body parts there. And moving furniture. When furniture moves
on its own,
that's when the movie must shut down.
You don't like that, huh? That's your line.
Satan has arrived.
A turn-off is just before Sedgefield to a place called Karatara. Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, we talked about this once on my show years ago, though. Yeah, it's there near Neisner. Karatara. And apparently this is a place where, like, there was serious inbreeding. Totally isolated community. People didn't go in, didn't go out. And for, I don't know, 50, 100 years, it's been like a secluded little place. So there are these places in South Africa that are scary, for real. Tracy says, I've stopped at the co-op shop at Karatara, or Karatara, however you pronounce it. It's a really goosebump weird place. You see, people are on it. Rienendal is another one. I don't know where Rienendal is, but that's frightening.
Where the Antwoord from?
Wherever the Antwoord. I think they're from Belleville.
Okay.
With fairness, yeah. Black people want to go camping, full stop, so they're safe. Won't go camping, says Grant. Yeah, that's what Flex was saying just now. Flex, of course, speaking on behalf of all black people this morning on the show. It's very important. So there we are. I mean, you got a horror movie for next week. You got your dress up. You've got Halloween plans. It's fantastic. Costa's all organized. And I hope you will have a good weekend, whatever you're up to this weekend. I'll come back on Monday with reports of how the luxurious marble circus went. And we'll tell you lots of cool stories. And I'll have to see this movie now. I think I'm intrigued. Also, especially because Rian says there's a surprise at the end, which both frightens and excites me. So where are we going to see you? Are you doing any gigs at the moment?
No.
Not?
No,
Oh, because you had those two like really horrible bombs.
Well, no, I'm working on a new show for next year.
Awesome.
I'm going to America in December as well. Going to do some comedy there.
That's very good.
Yeah, next year, March, my next show.
I'm excited. All right, dude. It's always nice to see you. Thank you, Costa.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
And where can we find you on the social medias?
Costa Comedian.
Costa Comedian.
There we go. On Instagram, TikTok, Costa Comedian. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you for coming in this morning. It's nice to have you here.
Good to be here.
All right, everybody. We'll be back on Monday with more of what you like and less of what you don't. And if you have anything to say about it and you don't think we've got the mix right, find another show.
Stay tuned, because Stairway to Stardom is next with Frank Massey.
On the stairway to stardom, you see tomorrow starts today. On the stairway to stardom, we're here to brighten up your day. We've got singers and dancers and actors performing for you. But there's more, so much more, and it's all right here for you. On the stairway to stardom, we'll entertain with talent and style. On the stairway to stardom, we've got the other shows beat by a mile. On the stairway to stardom, on the stairway to stardom, on the stairway to stardom, on the stairway to stardom.